Hey guys, so I want to just talk quick about things you have to avoid while you're pregnant. So obviously pregnancy is not all fun and games, which any pregnant woman would be able to tell you. Some women experience morning sickness, some have just bloating and cramping or just don't feel good, they're really tired. But let's just talk about the things that you have to avoid while you're pregnant. So basically, let's start with foods. I was just at a bridal shower this weekend and the theme was wine and cheese. Okay, I would be all about this if I wasn't pregnant. Unfortunately, as a pregnant woman, wine is out. Some doctors will say maybe you can have a glass a day, but the safest option is always no alcohol at all while you're pregnant. So there goes wine, because I follow the safe line. I don't really stray at all. So no wine for me at this wine and cheese party. A lot of the cheeses were fancier, and so maybe they were soft cheeses, which is what you also need to avoid. No soft cheeses while you're pregnant. You want to make sure everything is pasteurized, and that's the reason for no soft cheese. Also, what goes with cheese and wine? Crackers and deli meat. So there goes the deli meat for me, because of course you can't have deli meat when you're pregnant either. That is another no-no. It's because the nitrates in the deli meat that they usually say you can't have it. So if you go to some organic stores, you might be able to find nitrate-free deli meat, and usually that would be okay. You can always talk to your doctor about these things too and just verify. Now, aside from those things at that party that I couldn't have, thankfully the host was wonderful. She knew I was pregnant, and so she had some things I could eat and drink. But otherwise, you really need to be careful with your fish intake. There are some great fish you can eat and get those omega-3s, which are really important during pregnancy. And I will link to them right below, right down here. And so that way you can see which fish are okay to eat. The reason you want to avoid fish typically though is you don't want too much mercury. So you got to be careful with that. You also need to avoid, and this one's been killing me lately, I just made a cake for my husband's birthday, and then we just made cookies, and I will totally admit that I usually snitch some cookie dough or cake batter. No more. Gone are the days of cake batter and cookie dough. So please do not have that while you are pregnant. Even if you do and you're not, don't do it. There's an increased risk of salmonella, or there's an increased risk that you can get sick. Even if you've never gotten sick from it before in your life, you could now, unfortunately, because your immune system is probably a little lower. Your body is working on building this amazing little human. So you need to stay away from those raw eggs, okay? It's also a reason why you probably should not have homemade ice cream. I have a post all about this, and some people freak out because they're like, I can't have ice cream while I'm pregnant. I hear you. Ice cream is totally fine, but try to avoid homemade ice cream just because of that potential salmonella, okay? So again, we talked about food or fish already, but sushi, raw shellfish, and other just foods that are fish that are high in mercury, you need to avoid. And along with talking about the cheeses earlier, I mentioned unpasteurized. So no unpasteurized milk, no unpasteurized juice. Again, kind of the same reason as the salmonella thing. Your immune system is lowered, so your chance is going to be higher of getting sick, and that can also get your baby sick. So you really need to be careful with what you put in your body. Raw and undercooked sprouts are a no-no, as are salads that you don't make yourself. Now this one, here's what you need to be careful for. You don't want that cold chicken on your salad that's, you don't know how long it's been sitting out, or that deli meat that might be on there. Those all have, if it's cold meat is on your salad, it might have been sitting out for a while. You don't have control of when that was made or put out. So again, the same thing. Your immune system is lowered, so just make sure that you are choosing the healthiest options for yourself. So if you want that salad, make it yourself and try to bring it then for work. That would be a great option. Or make it right at home and eat it right away. You know that chicken is really fresh and you know everything on that salad is good. Cold hot dogs lunch meats, deli meats. We talked about these a little bit already, but just make sure that it is cooked through. I had cravings for Dairy Queen hot dogs with my first pregnancy, and they were so good. But I could eat them because it was cooked hot dog, okay? So if you're gonna eat those things, make sure they're thoroughly cooked. Check out the links I have below. That'll take you right to the guidelines of what is okay and isn't, and how hot those meats need to be heated up to know that they're okay. All right, so aside from those things, those are the foods you should avoid while you're pregnant. There are some other weird things that you should also avoid while you're pregnant, and there are tons of these out there, but here's just a few random weird ones you need to avoid, okay? So we talked about the food. Then sleeping. I already have some trouble sleeping now that I'm pregnant, but when you're sleeping, you should try to avoid sleeping on your back. If you wake up and you are on your back, don't panic and don't think I need to go to the hospital right now as long as you're feeling good. Just move your body to the side. The left side is the most ideal. The blood flow gets to your baby the best that way. But if you're laying on your back, the vena cava can be compressed a little bit and makes it more difficult for the blood flow to get to your baby. Okay? So that's why they suggest not sleeping on your back. Another thing to avoid while pregnant is, obviously, we'll tackle those first two. You want to avoid alcohol and smoking. Those are big ones, big no-nos for pregnancy. But other more uncommon ones would be doing like a full sit-up. Okay, and this is especially for later on in your pregnancy, and this goes along with the sleeping one too. It's probably not going to affect you right away, but further in your pregnancy, you got more weight on your belly, more weight on your uterus, and that's going to push down and compress that vein, okay? So the sit-ups, you want to avoid laying flat on your back again because of that compression. So just stop with the sit-ups. It's okay. You can find other exercises to do that are safe for pregnancy, and you can get right back into them as soon as your doctor approves you postpartum. Okay, another weird thing for while you are pregnant. If you have a cat, it's time to let your husband or somebody else in the family take care of the litter box, okay? We just got a new little kitty. It was my job for the first few months, but now I'm pregnant, and so my husband has to take care of cleaning the litter box. There's something called toxoplasmosis, which could be in your cat's poop in your litter box. And so if a mom gets that, it can be very harmful to your baby, okay? So you really just don't clean the litter box. Let somebody else take on that chore. Okay, another weird one is, it's not so weird, another no-no for pregnancy is painting, okay? Let somebody else do it. Let your husband take it on, let your mother-in-law or your mom come and help. Let somebody else paint the nursery for you. I know as moms, we really want to do it and it's so cute and we have this big plan for it to make it perfect. Why don't you come up with the plan and you let somebody else paint it, okay? The paint fumes are not good for you. Taking a hot bath. This one pains me because I love a good hot bath when I'm pregnant. When I just feel like I want to relax, that's really what I want to do. So you need to avoid saunas, hot tubs, and a really hot bath, okay? Those are not good because they can raise your body temperature too high, which can potentially harm your baby. Okay, so if you can still definitely take a bath, but just go with a warm bath, not a hot bath, okay? Okay, so the last no-no I'm going to talk about is caffeine. I know. So depending on your doctor and your feelings on caffeine, this is something you really need to watch, or you just kind of need to keep an eye on it, okay? So what they say is that you can have 200 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is usually a cup of coffee. Okay, so if you're a huge coffee drinker, don't think, oh, I can never have it again. Okay, you can have your coffee, but just make sure that you're kind of following that. Don't add that double shot of espresso. Probably don't have 6 cups of coffee a day. Try to limit your caffeine intake. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love chocolate, and I'm not counting my caffeine in my chocolate. So find alternatives. Try to drink I know for some of you coffee lovers, this may be a no-no, but maybe a caffeine-free, a decaf coffee, or try a caffeine-free pop, something like that lower that caffeination, okay? So that is another big one. Those are my list of just a few things you need to avoid while you're pregnant. It's obviously not all inclusive, just some of the must-haves with the food and some other kind of weird ones you might not have heard about. So definitely keep those on your radar. Talk to your doctor about these things and see what they say. They might have other opinions and tell you what's best. So go with your doctor. These are just great ideas to give you a heads up and what to keep in mind. Try to be your healthiest self during pregnancy, both for you and your little one. And then you should have a faster recovery and hopefully a very healthy pregnancy.